Good morning. So I called Bob last night about the reading to let him know that he can pick his own reading, and I knew it was going to be perfect, and it was perfect. He comes off the stage, I'm like, I told you it was going to be perfect. And then this beautiful young lady here, and the drummer who's now the videographer, firework, perfect. Good morning. It is so good to be here. I am still fired up from yesterday. How many in the room were at the workshop? Yeah. Didn't we have a great time yesterday? Yes. The numbers I got from Teresa was we had 64 people in the room. It was Shannon and I, it was 66. So here we are. We are still buzzing. At least I am. I don't know about you, but I am. So here we are. So let's get this thing started. How long do I have? Approximately?
25, 30 minutes.
Oh, see? Good. So, the name of the talk is Tag, You're It. And TAG stands for the abundance of God. You're it. So, let me start it off by, hi, everybody back there. How are you? And there you go. So, remember when we were kids? Well, okay. I remember when I was a kid, and we had all these games, right? We had handball, we had kickball, we had foursquare, we had tetherball, there was duck, duck, goose, there was thumbs up, 7-up.
Starlight, moonlight.
Don't know that one. Starlight, moonlight.
Hope to see the ghost tonight.
Hope to see the ghost tonight. Okay, so moving right along. We had all of these games, but the one game, there was hide and seek. There was all these games, but the one game, right? Tag. Now, do you remember how tag started? Usually, it wasn't like, a bunch of friends standing around, and it usually wasn't like, hey, do you want to play a game of tag? It usually wasn't like that. It started like someone in the group would go, tag, you're it, and then we would scatter. Here's the thing about that, right? Is that usually the first one who was tagged was the slowest one, right? And the game of tag was the object of the game was not to be it, right? So we devised clever ways of not getting tagged. We would dodge, we would move, we would laugh. It was great. And then there was another version of this game called freeze tag. And you had to wait until somebody came and freed you, right? It was great. We had so much fun. We laughed, and we always loved to play those games. And then we started to grow up. Getting into junior high school, now the guys are really a little too cool to be playing tag because we wanted to, catch the girls who were, of course, too cool to play tag. And then we continue in high school, and then in college, and then we get out of school. Then we start, doing what they call now adulting, where you would, get married, have a family, not necessarily in that order, and starting careers and all that. But there's the game of tag still going on. But the energy now that is wanting to tag us is spirit. Spirit's trying to tag us going, you're it. You are the abundance of God. But because we have learned and devised so many beautiful ways of not being tagged, we're not listening to Spirit because I don't want to be it. Nope. For me, it was like, nah, I can't hear you, Spirit. I'm not doing it. Nope, I don't want to be it. Or sometimes it will show up like, I have to help with my kids' homework. Or I have a presentation to give at work at some point, so I have to prepare for that. Or I just don't have time to do prayer work and meditation. What's all that stuff about anyway? But all the while, Spirit is still doing this, trying to get the attention going, tag, you're it. You are my beloved in whom I am well pleased. Tag, you're it. Dr. Ernest Holmes says in this thing called You, great book, you belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life. The first word he says, you belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, the original form of life. Tag, you're it. You're the one. See, here's the thing about being it. You can't run from yourself. Try as you might, you can't run from yourself. Sly and the Family Stone had a song called Running Away to Get Away. And the rest of the lyric goes, ha ha, he, you're wearing out your shoes. Look at you fooling you. Tag, you're it. You're it. You are the abundance of God. See, as I was explaining yesterday I was explaining a lot yesterday in that workshop. That abundance is a spiritual principle. We are surrounded by abundance. There's an abundance of oxygen. Thank God. There's an abundance of ideas that flow through the mind. Thank God. There's an abundance of grains of sand. There's an abundance of stars we can't even count in this galaxy, not to mention the 1,000 other galaxies that are out there. So we are surrounded by abundance. Prosperity is the way that the principle of abundance shows up. Right? There's an abundance of life. What I love about life is that it always is growing. It is always expanding. The purpose of life is to live life. The purpose of life is to continue to grow and to expand and to express. That's who you are. How cool is that to step into that and to really know that and to be fired up and to be the firework of life? Where you show up and people go, oh, it's you. Why? Because you have said yes, right, to being your most pure, beautiful, abundant, authentic self. God said, let us make them in our image and in our likeness. Meaning that in spite of some of the religious teachings when I was growing up that said that I was born a sinner and born in iniquity, we were miseducated in that. Because Scripture also says that all that God created was good and is good. So let me continue to bask in that, and that energy of the all good of God, because there is an abundance of good. There is an abundance of good. How many in the room, by a show of hands, have ideas that are flowing through you all the time? Yeah. How about this question? By a show of hands, how many of you follow those ideas? 1, 2, crickets over here, 3 or 4. Yeah, right? He's going, eh. But that's okay too, because Spirit keeps going. Oh, yeah, I tend to move a lot. Yeah, he's like, I know, I got you. But Spirit continues to do this. Why? Because you're it. You are the beloved in whom God is well pleased. I love that line, and I love playing with words. You are the beloved in whom I am well pleased. In. So because you are the abundance of Spirit, naturally, that's how we were all created. The question that I have is, what keeps you from being it? What keeps us from stepping into our greatness even further? Now, I know there are some of you in the room that have stepped boldly into your greatness. And here's the thing about that. There is no end, right? It's like I have arrived. No, the journey continues. And that journey of greatness continues. But what keeps us from being it? What keeps us from not wanting to be tagged? What keeps us from not wanting to be the abundance of God? Usually, as I said a few times yesterday, none of you, but me and some of your friends, we are afraid to show up. We are afraid to, for me, it was like I'm afraid that I might lose some friends. I'm afraid that I might gain enemies. I am afraid that I might get it wrong. I'm afraid that someone's going to talk about me or judge me or any of that. But here's the thing about fear. Fear is not here to stop us. Fear is here for us to feel whatever it is and then to walk through it. There's a saying, right, that if your vision doesn't scare you, it's too small. If your vision doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So I know that here in Las Cruces, CSL, that you are here to live a big life, right? Right, Eugene? So live it. But there's that, but you don't understand. In my experience is I was pushed down. And in my past experience, I was told that I wasn't good enough. In my past experience, but here's the key word that I want all of us to let go of, is the word past. It's done. What I love about past experiences is this, is that we get to take the lessons from the past, gain whatever it is, learn whatever it is, and then leave the rest alone. Oh, but no, me and some of your friends, we cannot let go of the past, the stuff that wants to hold me back. Well, remember what they said, you're not good enough. I am good enough. We are perfect, whole, and complete. I love the word perfect. And we say perfect, whole, and complete. And the definition of the word perfect is whole and complete. So we say that 3 times. But here's the thing I want you to get about wholeness. Wholeness also signifies that there's nothing missing. When things are whole, there's nothing missing. But there's this fear that comes up. And I'm afraid to show up. I'm afraid of all of this stuff, but none of that really matters for 2 reasons. One, Spirit will continue to do this. I know that even right now, Spirit is knocking on the doorway of your heart saying, let me out, let me shine. So there's, all of that fear really doesn't matter. Because again, Spirit is going to continue to knock. And here's the thing about that knock. If you're sitting in this room, you've already answered. If you're on this path, you've already said yes. So we may as well surrender completely. And though this is not a note in my talk, but I want to talk about this word surrender, as I had mentioned yesterday, but it's worth repeating, that surrender has 2 sides. The first side is to surrender everything that no longer works. Surrender all the thoughts of doubt and worry and fear. Surrendering all those thoughts that I'm not good enough. Surrendering those people in those relationships that tend to hold us back. To surrender the fear, to surrender all that is not in alignment with our greatest good. That's one side of surrender. The other side of surrender is to surrender to your good. Surrender to your passion. Surrender to your creativity. Surrender to your abundance. Surrender to your joy. Surrender to the love that you are. Surrender to the greatness that you are. Surrender to the good that you are. Why? Because we are created in the spiritual image and after the likeness of the divine. Call it what you want. Call it God, call it Yahweh, whatever you want, whatever word works for you, but call it forth into your conscious awareness and surrender to it. Surrender to your peace. Surrender to your divine health. Surrender to the magnificence that you are. But we're afraid to surrender to that. We are afraid to let go and to be that brilliant light. And as Scripture says, we're not to take our light and hide it under a bushel. We're not to take our light and hide it. We are to bring that light up so that the world, not just the neighborhood, but the world can see it. So is it that we're afraid of that, or where did you go? Or is it as Marianne Williamson wrote in her book, Return to Love? And you guys, most of you have heard this at least once. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. That was me. I was afraid to shine. That was me. I am not going to show up. I told a story yesterday about my writing in the Science of Mind magazine for the first time. In 2009, I believe it was, and I was at home doing my meditation and doing my prayer work, and out of my meditation and prayer work, this idea, this thought came to me that said, I wonder what it would take for me to write a daily guide. I go to work the following morning, and at that time, it was my practice to go from office to office and ask my coworkers what they would like prayer for, because I love prayer, and I was known as the prayer guy. And I would go into an office, what would you like prayer for? And we do prayer. I shut the door. I'd go out to somebody else's office, wherever I was guided to go. And I was guided to go to the editor's office, shut the door. Donna, what would you like prayer for? We did the prayer. We come out of the prayer, and so it is. Amen. Donna says, Eugene, what do you think about writing a daily guide? I don't know, Donna. Let me think about that. Not 13 hours had passed from my having that idea. I wonder what it would take. I go to work the next day. Hey, what, you want to write a daily guide? Great. That was the great part, but that was not the powerful part for me. I sit down to write my first guide, and that voice said, who do you think you are? Oh, that was not funny at the time. No laughing here. Who do you think you are to touch lives around the world? Who do you have nothing to say. You have no light to shine. People, I was upset. I'm sitting at the keyboard. I'm trying to get a word, but I can't even think of anything to say because I'm in this state of fear. Who do you think I have nothing to say. Who do you think? After the third or fourth time, within a week and a half of doing that, my office was over here at home office. The assistant editor, Claudia's office, was way over here. Claudia can feel me. And I say, I need to go get prayer. I need to go talk to Claudia. I get up from my desk. Claudia meets me halfway. She says, what's going on with you? I can feel you. What's going on? I'm like, can't we go to your office and pray? Because I was so upset. And I loved to write. I was writing prior to that fiction stuff. It was crazy. I loved to write. But that voice, now again, none of you have that voice, but me and some of your friends, that voice that says, you will never be good enough. So it's not, and that voice is not about keeping us from shining. Really, that egoic voice, what it thinks it's doing is keeping us safe, keeping us in that comfort zone. But once we get that comfort zone is no longer comfortable. But how do I get out of it? We declare that now it's time to shine. So it's not our darkness, it's our light that frightens us up until this point. Because I know, and I'm declaring for myself and for everyone in the room, that from this point on, we are allowing that fuse to be lit, and we are the firework. Because tag, you are it. And you can't run from self. You can't run from self. So I know that no matter how long you have gone around the sun, there's still a vision. There's still a dream. There's still something that's wanting to be expressed. Right? Well, that's God. That's God calling. Tag, you're it. You're the one. Bobby, tell her what she's won. As I said earlier, you are the way that the infinite intelligence gets to show up. You are the way that spirit, God, divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it, you are the way that it shows up on the planet. That God so loved the world that it turned upon itself, clothed itself, and then named itself you, and then you, and you, and you, and you, and you. That God so loved itself that it recreated itself as each and every one of us so that it could express or that it could experience itself through us. So why not be magnificent? Why not be spectacular? Why not shine your light? And you can't really hide because, tag, you're it. And here's the thing about being it. Here's the thing about being tagged is that now it is our responsibility, which is not a terrible word. In fact, it's a wonderful word. It is our responsibility to touch the other person and say to ourselves, tag, you're it. You are the abundance of God. Tag, you're it. Now, we don't need to say those words to them out loud, but you can say it even in a handshake or a hug and in your mind going, tag, you're it. And this is what happens. This is what I'm finding that happens, is that the more we do that, that spreads. And it spreads, and it spreads, and it spreads. Can you imagine, let's start here. Can you imagine what the city of Las Cruces would be like if everybody realized and recognized and unified with the power that we really are? Can you imagine what it would be like if everybody, now this may sound cliche and even corny, but if everybody loved everybody, oh my goodness. Can you imagine how that would feel? Can you see it? Can you see it? Out of the mouth of babes. And he's not all that young. But there would be this energy. There would be this oneness. And isn't that what this is all about anyway? In the noble Quran, the scriptures of Islam, you know, in one of the verses, it talks about that Allah, that God created people to be different so that we can be one. So being one with each other doesn't mean that we have to conform. In fact, these Christian verses say, you know, we will not conform, do not conform, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So as we renew our mind, as we have a new thought, then we get to think about, oh man, let me be that vehicle, that vessel, that light, that joy, that grace, that abundance of spirit that we all are, because sometimes people just need to be reminded. That's all. I sometimes say that I am not a teacher. I'm here to facilitate the remembrance of who and what we are. And the best way for us to be that is to be like Yeshua Messiah. Jesus the Christ was not the exception. He was the example. Moses was not the exception. He was the example. Gandhi was not the exception. He was the example. We are not. So all of those spiritual teachers that we revere and that we respect, they were not the exception. They were the example. For us to follow that example in our own beautiful divine way. I had mentioned this yesterday, I do believe, that, and I love playing around with scripture. I love words. And so I put it into the language that I would like to hear. And so I imagine that Yeshua Messiah would look at me in one of the crowds and go, dude, why are you tripping off of what I'm doing? Why are you wondering about the works that I am doing? You can do these works, and greater works shall ye do. And haven't we been doing that, though? So why not be it with a capital IT? Why not be that beautiful light? Why not be the joy of God? Why not be the abundance of God? Why not? Why not be the magnificence that you were created to be? There's no reason why not. That's why you can't answer the question. He's like, well, there is no reason why not. Not really. So we are here to consciously live life in a bold and magnificent way. Why not? Why not? Really? Okay, good. You are more. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. You are more than what you were told. And no matter how magnificent your life is now, there's still more. There's still more. You are more than what the schools have said that we were. We are more than what institutions have said. Truly, we are more than what some of the other religious teachings have taught. We are so much more. We are more than the physical body. I want to take you through a little short exercise to prove that. Little short one. We are so much more than this beautiful physical body. The physical body is the vehicle of this, the indwelling spirit. So, on the count of three, I want you to say, oh, that's a good one. On the count of three, I want you to say, I am abundant. Okay? On the count of three, I want you to say, I am abundant. But don't say it out loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All righty. So the question is, what said it? Because it wasn't done with the physical mouth. More importantly, you're going to love this one. What is it that heard it? Because you heard it. So it puts a totally different spin on the vibration of sound. You see how much we are more than the physical body, because clearly you said it and clearly you heard it, right? So we are more than just this physical being. We are so much more. Again, the physical body is the vehicle of the indwelling spirit, indwelling God, indwelling whatever you want to call it. But we are so much more. So when I talk about what said that, what heard that, that's the part of us that we want to connect with as often as we possibly can. Oh, I think that's called meditation. To get still. And I ask clients, I ask other practitioners, how is your spiritual practice? And when I ask that question, I am specifically referring to prayer and meditation. It is said that prayer is when we talk to God, meditation is when we listen. And when we listen, we can hear Spirit that is tapping on the door of our heart, saying, go this way. Go do this. Oh, there's this idea that that needs to come forth through you. But then that little voice goes, yeah, but people have already written that book. Yeah, but not like you've written it. Yeah, but people have already, drawn and they've done the painting. Yeah, but not like you've done it. If you take your index finger and look at the very top pad and look at the fingerprint, be aware that there's nobody on the planet that has that print. Tag, you're it. How cool is that? So, the words I had you say, I am abundant. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see those words. I am abundant. Go ahead, close your eyes. I'm not going to make any funny faces. Okay, you can go ahead and open your eyes. For a lot of us, we can see the words. Now, there are some people where their makeup is that they don't see things or visibly like that, and that's okay. But when you close your eyes, you can see a lot more. I am abundant. So here's the thing I was talking about us being more than our physical being. See, our eyes cannot see the vision. Our eyes don't see the vision. Our eyes see the sight, but it doesn't see the vision that Spirit has for us. We can only see the vision when we go within. And then we allow that which is within to guide us in how to bring that vision to fruition. Tag, you are the abundance of God. You are the awesomeness of Spirit. You are the way that Spirit shows up. I love musicians. I'm a musician myself. I am a percussionist. But to sit and watch, because I can't play piano, or I don't play piano, but to watch a piano player, to watch a guitar player, to watch a bass player, to watch a mandolin player, to watch a singer, and watch how they move out of the way. Jamie Lula was the first singer that I saw get on the stage, and I saw him visibly get out of the way and have that song sang to him, and he didn't even move. But I saw a part of him just get out of the way. So we all have something to give. We all have something to share. We all have something that brings us joy. Do your joy. Do your joy. Cool. In closing, and you hear me say that 2 or 3 times. In closing, that's true. It is time for all of us to claim our power. It is time for all of us to say, yes, I am it. To say that I am the way that love shows up. I am the way that joy shows up. I have some ideas here can I share them with you? And when we start sharing ideas, the more ideas come and more ideas come. And it's an interesting thing about saying yes. Because when we say yes from this place of authenticity, when we say yes from that place of feeling tone, the universal presence just opens up and support just shows up. People show up that you didn't think would show up or had no clue that they would show up, but someone shows up and says, hey, I know someone who blah, 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 and that's exactly what you were looking for. So that sacred yes is always a guide. That sacred yes will always guide us to our greatest yet to be. In closing, that's 3. That God so loved the world that it turned upon itself, clothed itself, breathed life into itself, and then called it you. The question that I have, now that you know that, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue to stay back in the shadows? Or are you going to come forth and shine your light? And your light could be as easy as sharing a smile with a stranger on the street. Your light could be as easy as just reaching out a hand to shake somebody's hand or to give them a hug. Your light can be just waving to someone. Or your light can be just sitting in the presence, imagining a world that works for all. Peace and abundant blessings. Join me in this affirmative prayer. Oh, one more thing. Tag, you're it. You're it. It is with a heart so full of joy and gratitude that I speak this word. Recognizing first and foremost that there is this infinite intelligence that is known by so many different names. Sometimes it is known as God. Sometimes it is known as Allah. Sometimes it is known as Krishna or Buddha. Sometimes it is known as Olodumare or Vodun, Yahweh. Whatever it is known by, we tend to call it forth into our conscious awareness, recognizing that out of this one power, this one presence, this one life, all things are created. And in its original form and by its very nature, it permeates, it penetrates, it fills the interspaces of the universe, meaning that there is no place where life is not. There is no place where love is not, where peace is not. There is no place where God is not. And so recognizing the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresence as being exactly that, present everywhere at all times, I know that at all times it is present right where I am, for there's never any separation. It is never the life of God separate from my life. It is the life of God fulfilling itself in, through, and as my life, for I am that I am. And as I know this to be the truth of my life, I know this to be the truth of each individualized expression of the one sitting here at CSL in the heart of Las Cruces. Right here, right now, God is we are. For we are all created in the spiritual image and after the likeness of the divine itself. We are all fully imbued with that same creative intelligence that causes the earth to spin. That same power that causes the sun to shine is that same power that beats our hearts. It's that same power that breathes our breath. It thinks our thoughts. It animates the body temple. It speaks our word. For again, there is never any separation. It is not the life of God separate from our life. It's the life of God revealing itself as our lives. And so it is in my conscious awareness, in my knowing of our oneness in God, that I speak this word for this beautiful community, knowing that Centers for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces now experiences a financial blessing and an abundance that is overflowingly fulfilling itself even now. And that each and every one of us, each and every member, each and every person that comes through these doors, not only are they blessed, but they are a blessing unto the world, simply because we say so. That we have said yes to being it, saying, yes, Father, Mother, God, tag me, use me. Use me to shine the light of prosperity. Use me to shine the light of grace. Use me to shine the light of abundance. Use me to shine the light of peace. Use me, God. I stand for you. And here I'll abide. So knowing that this word is already complete, knowing that we are guided and directed to experience only the highest and best, I give great thanks. I am grateful for our willingness to open up and be that which we were created to be. I am grateful for our willingness to shine. I am grateful for our willingness to heal. I am grateful for our willingness to be abundant and then to spread that abundance around not just the city, not just the state, but around the world. An abundance of not only money, but abundance of talent, an abundance of creativity, an abundance of joy, and most of all, an abundance of love. So, gratefully, I release this word. I take my hands off of it, knowing that there isn't anything more for me to do but to be. There's nothing more for us to do but to be in the awareness that this prayer is already done, to be the light, to be the joy, to be the presence of the one. So as I release this word into what we call the law, I know that the law has no other recourse but to return these words unto us, not void or not empty, but absolutely and completely and overflowingly and abundantly fulfilled. And so fulfilled we allow it to be simply because our word is a law unto itself. And all it knows is its own fulfillment. Or as Dr. Holmes would put it, the word, of course, is Spirit's ability to declare itself into manifestation, into form. So we declare that this is so. And so it is. Amen. Ooh. Thank you.